when someone or an editor reads your work and they tell you the flow isn't right or the writing is not flowing, what does it really mean? While you may sit back and say the feedback is true, have you ever stopped to wonder what writing flow is really all about? Or is it just a cliche? I am Folakemi, and you are welcome to Creatives Panoply. On today's episode, we'll be breaking down the meaning of writing flow and how you can achieve and sustain your flow. For those who want to elevate their writing, sit back, don't swipe, don't scroll, because we will be discussing how to sustain your flow in writing after the short break. Welcome back. Today I have with me an award-winning writer. She's a prolific writer and a storyteller. Guys, I have with me Nkechi Nyere-Bona. You're welcome, Nkechi.
Thank you for letting me.
So can you give us a quick background into your writing journey?
Okay, writing for me was always the means of self-expression.
Okay.
It was the easiest way I found to communicate with others. It was the easiest way I found to express my thoughts. I always found it difficult to verbally express myself with people, so writing was just the fastest and the easiest way. And it was never about a job for me. I never even imagined that I would earn a living writing.
Okay.
I never thought of it. So most of the time I just journaled my thoughts. I wrote them in letters. Well, a few months after law school, I realized that I had no business practicing law. I had no interest rather practicing law. Right?
Okay.
Then the question came up, what did I want to do? What could I offer? What did I have to give?
Okay.
And then I realized that, writing is something that I could sell. Before then, when people talk about writing, it felt like, anybody that wanted to write, you are unserious. You don't have any ambition. You are just writing, it's just something that you scribble out. Exactly. So I didn't consider writing as something I could pursue as a career.
Yeah.
But as times changed, I realized that people actually need writers. Before then, I always figured writing was just a hobby. Because people never, when you tell people you're a writer, there was this, there's a kind of perception that comes with being a writer. You are seen as irresponsible, you are seen as loose. So I did imagine, coming from a legal profession, legal background, that kind of strict background, that I was trying to be a writer, I felt good with it. I could not imagine that writing, what am I doing? But as I began to, I started volunteering. I volunteered first. I started volunteering my writing experiences, my writing skill. And I realized, I saw one of my, one of my leaders, then my mentor, he just told me that you actually have a gift. It's something you could pursue.
Insurance.
Since you are sort of confused about what you want to do with your future, this is something that you are really quite good at. Why not consider going in this direction? And I was like, okay, there's some wisdom in what you said. And that was how I started.
Okay. So you said you usually journal with your thoughts. So, and you mentioned letters. Were you part of those that write love letters then?
No. No. You're more or less like, if I wanted to say something to you and I couldn't say it to your face, so it was easier to write it out.
So if it was feelings you could not tell.
Well, I never wrote a love letter to anyone.
Okay, so let's get into the meat of today's topic: how to sustain your flow in writing. So if someone should tell you there's no flow in this, maybe they reviewed your work and they tell you there's no flow, like the starting doesn't flow, what does it mean to you? What does that tell you?
Okay, let me use an analogy to explain it. Imagine you fix a pipe to a tap, right?
Okay.
And then you fix the pipe and you put the pipe probably in a drum. You want to transfer water from the tap to the drum.
Okay.
So there's the expectation that there's a beginning point and there's an end point, and the pipe is that connection. Right. So imagine the water is flowing smoothly, and all of a sudden there are punctures on the pipe and it just starts spilling out. So rather than it going from point A to point Z smoothly, you have the water flowing and then it's splashing in all directions. So that simple analogy is what I used to describe writing that has no flow.
Okay.
So because you're expected that your writing should take you from the beginning point to an end point is expected. It should be seamless. It should flow seamlessly. And if you suddenly just start splashing about your thoughts are not coherent, it's not precise, there's no logic to the narration you are giving, it will actually still get to point C, actually. But there'll be splashes, it's disorganized. There's no cohesion in the journey.
Okay.
That basically what is when you write it without the flow. There's no organization, there's no logical coherence.
Okay, so if you're saying you will still pick up your piece from that point A to point B, but there are obstructions along the way. So what causes those obstruction if there was already an initial flow?
Sometimes it could be the thought process of the writer.
Okay.
Because writing is first and foremost a thinking exercise. So you have to communicate your thoughts to me. If the writer, your own thoughts are not in sync, you can't communicate it to another person. So if you don't have your thoughts outlined, or if you are distracted, or sometimes it could even be that you don't have adequate knowledge of the subject matter you're working on. So there's lack of knowledge, there's distraction, there's sometimes it could be a mental barrier that your thoughts are not in sync, and so you find yourself just weaving out of focus.
Okay, so why does writing flow? Like, why does flow even matter at all in writing? Like, what is that great importance that is attached to flow when it comes to your writing piece?
Well, I think, or I believe that writing is more than an art. Of course, we see it as an art, creative expression, you're able to see what you want to see at, but it's communication.
True.
And because it's communication, we are, as humans, we are rational beings, we are thinking beings. If I have to communicate my thoughts to you, I should be able to communicate in a way that you, the reader, should be able to understand what I'm saying. So if I'm communicating my thoughts and you are finding it difficult to piece together what I'm saying, it could be in academic work, it could even be in copywriting. Don't say a product to me and you're not able to express yourself properly. It could be in storytelling, fictional narrative. So because we are thinking beings, it's expected that your thoughts, you should be able to communicate rightly, that the person you are communicating to should be able to understand what you are saying. So imagine climbing a ladder or climbing a staircase. There are points to it. It's for step 1, step 2, step 3. If you attempt to just jump from the bottom of the staircase to the top, you probably have an accident along the way. So it's a progression. So one thought goes into another, until you get to the top of the staircase.
Okay.
That's how the flow should go. You have to communicate properly with the reader.
Okay, so how can you... So there are two things now. There is achieving that flow, that's the initial state, and there is sustaining that flow. So before we get to the sustaining part, how can you achieve your writing flow?
I think you should start with, as I said, writing is a thinking activity. So start with your thoughts. If your thoughts are scrambled, it will show in what you're writing. So first and foremost, get your thoughts in order. Think about what you want to write. And sometimes even question the logic of your thoughts. You say, I want to write about boy meets girl. And you start with, he went to a place. And just jump from, he walked into the room. And the next minute, they are holding hands. Your writer is now wondering, what happens in between? So learn to question your own thoughts. Learn to question your own narrative. It starts with you.
Okay.
And when you're able to question, what if I'm saying this happened, why did it happen? Should it happen this way? Is it realistic? I never watched a movie and you're thinking, Brandon, and let's give us some credit that we actually know. Just like know what exactly how it works. So accord your reader the respect that they are intelligent, that they are actually people. Don't take them for granted. Don't. When it comes to when in fiction writing, Just that fiction is not real. But even within that unrealistic narrative, there should still be a sequence, a logical sequence that anybody needs to be like, okay, it makes sense. It goes to next to here to here. But when you don't have that respect for your readers' intelligence, then you just write anything and you feel that everything they should just handle it. Then secondly, there's the technical aspect of writing. Beyond the creative aspect, the technical aspect, your paragraphs, your punctuations, how does one sentence flow into another, all those technical things. Beyond the creative aspect now, which allows you the freedom to, say what you want to say, weave around words, dance around them. The technical aspect enables you to bring that beauty, that rhythm of your words, and then brings order to it. It makes it more fluid. So you don't just keep on rambling. You still have been talking. A full stop should appear here. A comma should be here. A semicolon should be here. This paragraph is too long. How do I break it and fill it? So every writer should be able to have the basics of grammar, of sentence construction. That basic foundation is always key when you're trying to maintain your fluent writing.
Okay, so since you've talked about maintaining, achieving that flow, so how do you sustain it? Because there are times when you finish writing, or maybe you're editing your work, or you're proofreading it, and you're like, okay, this paragraph is not aligning with this, or this chapter is actually out of tune. So how do you sustain that flow while writing, and even after writing? What can you do if you discover that, okay, there's a point where your thoughts are disjointed, they are not disjointed, rather, they are not flowing, it's not merging together. So how do you sustain that flow?
For me, what I do, it starts from the beginning of the work. Sometimes it's good to outline your work. It's good to have, when you have a basic idea of what you want to write, it's easier to plot it, to plan it. So you're like, oh, this is the introduction. It should flow into this question. So if you can outline the work earlier, before you start the project, it becomes easier to, because you know where it's like someone saying, oh, I'm traveling from Lagos to Ibadan. You know the routes you will follow. You're not going to take a route that will take you to Abuja or some other parts of the state. Do you understand? So you follow, you already outline the route you are willing to take within the context of your writing. And it's always nice to revisit either while you are writing or after you are writing. So it's always nice to start from the beginning. Like, we are halfway through, you go back to the beginning again and read through and say, okay, do these thoughts align? Should I move these paragraphs forward or backward? Do I even omit an entire paragraph? So it's always good to keep on checking while you are working. And then try to stick to the theme of what you are writing about. Oftentimes you find writers veer off the subject matter. So I'm talking about crypto, for instance, and then I leave crypto. I write in the middle of crypto. I veer off into talking about shares. Just so try and create that boundary. So stick to the theme of what you are writing about. It could be that a thought just pops up, and then you feel like, let me just explain it, and then your reader is wondering, why did we just veer off course? So try and stick to the theme of your subject matter. I think that's
okay. So you mentioned revisiting your work, but does that also not negate the fact that there's this rule where writers are told, don't write and edit at the same time? Like, wait to finish writing your work before jumping into reviewing or editing your work to spot out errors.
It doesn't affect the flow. So it could happen while you are writing.
Okay.
It could happen after you're writing. Either way, revisit the work, because it's after you revisited the work that you realize that something is missing. Either your thoughts did not pan out properly, or your logic is not meshing. So you could personally, I revisit my work while I'm writing, not to edit per se, but to ensure that I'm on course.
Flow.
Yeah. So sometimes I do it while I'm writing. I wait until I'm done, and then I revisit it, and then I make the adjustments. So it could be done while you're writing, depending on your ability to restrain yourself from that need to edit while you're writing. So you can do it while you're writing, you can do it after. But either way, just revisit that work and ensure that all the thoughts.
Okay, so the thin line is you're not revisiting to edit, you're revisiting to check
your
out
thoughts.
your flow and your thought process are logically arranged and they're in a good shape. Okay, so thank you for that. So I think we are running out of time and we would want to wrap up. But before that, what parting shot would you give to a writer that is struggling to maintain that flow in the writing personally that has worked for you?
I have a mantra, and its excellence is in the details. So pay attention to those little details. It's easy to just overlook.
Wow.
You know, you just feel like nobody will notice. And I believe it's not important. But excellence is in the details. Those little things. Just as I said, even sometimes simple as a comma, a full stop, or the sentence is too long.
No.
Breaking it can make a difference. So just pay attention. Don't be in a hurry to finish. Or even if you're in a hurry to finish, be patient enough to revisit your work and ensure that all the loose ends are tied.
Tied. Oh, wow. So tying the loose ends. Thank you so much. So, one more thing before we go. That's the last thing for today. So tell us something special, kind of, that people don't know about you. So if I'm watching this video, this would be, even if I'm your friend, that would be like the first time I'm hearing you say that.
What do you know about me?
Anything, actually. Anything. But just something unique that you feel like not so many people know this about you.
How long are you going to think about it?
Okay, so you just have, maybe we should just give it like 10 seconds. You have just 10 seconds to think about it.
People don't know about me. I'm a puzzle.
You are what?
A puzzle onto myself.
Okay, I get that was not anything, right?
Well, so what should it be? Should it be for? Should it be
Anything,
white,
actually.
white?
Anything. You can decide that. You have that freedom.
I'm a devoted yogi. I love yoga. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So I guess you love exercises too.
Oh, very well.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Thank you so much for that. So we wrap up today's episode with that advice from an award-winning writer. Okay, that's true. Just hold on a minute. We didn't talk about that part. Yes, she's an award-winning writer. So I think we are actually interested in knowing that.
Okay, what are you?
So what award was that? And how was the experience like?
He was the Shazaya Creative Writing Competition.
Okay.
I sent in a story for one of the writing contests. I missed the winner.
Okay, what year was that?
2021.
Oh, 2021. That's interesting. So yes, guys, we have an award-winning writer. And the advice she gave was actually something she uses in her daily life. Like she practiced it and it worked for her and it's still working for her. So you should also try it out. So let me quickly appreciate all our subscribers so far. You guys have been amazing. And for those sharing this content and the link to these videos, we truly appreciate your effort. Please don't relent to let's keep pushing this channel out there. And if you have writers, graphic artists, creatives who want to grow and improve their craft, please share this link with them and tell them to subscribe. If you've not turned your notification, kindly do so. Click on the bell icon on your screen so you don't miss out on amazing content as we upload more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I am Falakami. Peace.